Hello. What I've actually bought today is one of these. It's called a 168 Firewheel, and it's one of these little paraffin stoves. And I've also bought one of these things to fit on top, so I can turn it into a heater. So I haven't opened them up yet, so let's see what we've got in the boxes. So this is the fitting for the heater, for the stove. That's the way it comes inside. That's it, nothing more in. So this is what we've got. It's got like a civvy mesh bit in the center. So you've got your outside, and then you've got like a civvy mesh bit on the inside. And we've got one of these. So, and it does say at the top, when it's on the heater, it'll be hot. Right. Now let's move on to our Firewheel. So what we've got, it's a bit, it's like when you order plates, a dinner set, someone drops it. It used to be a 24 piece, and that's a 48 piece and more. Let's see what we've got anyway. Box isn't the best. Someone's already chewed this up. There you go. So that's your so-called instructions. What it says is a superior quality kerosene cooking stove. We thank you for your purchase of our product, and then it gives you its special features. At the bottom here, it gives you how much it will hold and how many hours of fuel consumption. So this model is a 168, and it's 0.55 kilos in weight. It holds 1 litre, and fuel consumption is 0.15 litres per hour. And it's supposed to burn for 6 hours. So, you know, what it says and what it does, we all know it's two different things, but there we go. Right, let's take out the goodies. So, we've got our top bit for our pans. You've seen loads of these on. I'm not the only one that's done. I'm late to the party basically. With this, a little something to kick on as well maybe. But these here are just held in with little split pins. So push through, and then they're bent. So that's for your different size pots. Not really, yeah, maybe. I think it's just to put you on some of the camp stoves. That would be your, but it's closed like this would be your smaller pots. If you want something a bit larger, this would bend right back, but I suppose you could maybe put a pot on it, a bigger pot on it. We'll try that later. And it keeps it raised up so the oxygen can still get in and keep the flame going. So that's our top piece. As I say, it's very light. It's got its logo on the side. Firewheel, made in China. And then we've got part of the inner part, which this bit is round and this bit is a bit misshapen, but it's that thin it can be bent into shape. So that's that piece. Then we've got our little other piece that fits in the center. Again, it's not what you would call very circular. It's just very quick spot weld. It's very light and flimsy. And we have another piece, our center piece. Again, that's quite sturdy. The rest of it's still thin. We've got our main piece here with our wicks. I reckon I'm going to try using some mop heads, cotton mop heads as wicks. So basically, you just put a piece of wire down, double this over, put a thin piece of wire down this way with a little hook on it, push it up through so it doubles over like this, and then basically you'll want them all the same size. And if they're not all the same size, all you've got to basically do is, there's one there, it's not really the same size. It's basically just grab this wee bit and tug it, and you can bring them down level with each other so that they'll all bore equally. Now there's a little, don't know if you can see, in the center there's a little tooth mechanism which raises this up and down. So as you can see with the wicks, they'll go down and then they'll come up and be able to see the mechanism in there. Again, made cheaply for the masses, and if it works, well, I'll be happy enough. So that's my main wick unit. They do give us some more wicks. I don't know how many is in these. It's 2, 4, 5, 6. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's an 8 wick system, and they give you 1, 2, 3. They only give you 4. So I reckon if you get those mops that you'd see your granny with years ago and whatever, and they come with these, they're just cotton bits with a plastic bit, you can put your pole on top. I reckon they would do some. I've ordered 2 of them. I'm going to use those as wicks. As long as they're cotton, they'll be alright as a wick. Now, the main piece itself, it's quite crude, but again, thin metal, all stamped out. There's your filler piece. This piece here is actually quite sharp, but again, it is what it is. If you were no power, no way of heating or cooking, you'd be glad of this. So it's not the safest thing, but again, when you're working with fire, what is? So what else have we got? We've got our little filler, about the size of a little egg cup, if you want to fill it that way, like so. And the last thing in the box is this, and this is for lighting. Now, you'd want this to be bent down this way, and you'd want this wet. delighted. So basically, what this does is goes in here, and then it just sits on. And all I've done there is just made sure that was pushed down into the base. Well, that's actually quite. It's actually quite tight, that. But I suppose the more times you take it off and whatever, it would it would loosen. But I'm happy with that. I have an idea of trying to make this safer, but we'll work on that later. So basically, to put this together, all you've got to do is pop in your kerosene or paraffin. Don't fill it, because apparently it expands. What you notice on the old paraffin heaters, the brass ones, they're actually slightly bulbous and not allow for the expansion. So you never fill these things. So I would just maybe half fill it at that. I'd maybe quarter fill it to start with, just to see how it works. Make sure it's boring okay and everything else. Because if this spills, out comes the fuel and you've got fire everywhere. So I'll have a fire blanket. I'll have this in another container, like a bowl, so it won't fall over. Maybe an old saucepan or something like that. But anyway, I'll work on that later. But for the minute, this is just the unboxing and what we're getting inside. So this is this. Again, very thin, pressed metal, quick spot welds. There you go. So take all our wicks, like so. Put our fuel in. Pop this in. Make sure all your wicks is in. Now, let's turn this on a wee bit. Oh, there you go. So that's sturdier than I thought. The ones that I'd seen on other people on YouTube, they just sat it on. But if you give it a little twist, there you go. Maybe it's just this one. I don't know, but I'm happy with that. Because what I was initially going to do was, I might still do it. Get a long bolt and a nut, and go through here. Put it straight through, so it's like this. One on this side, one on the other. Basically, the bolt will go through here. The head of it will be here, and there'll be a nut. I'm gonna hold this like this. A nut. I want to put a nut on the underside of this to hold this in place. That would sit on top of that. Do one at the other side, and there's no way that would come off. But at the minute, there's no way that's coming off. And again, with that little lid thing, you know, it's nice and tight, whether it's because of the paints on it has thickened it out. But anyway, through time it'll probably loosen. So there we have this so far. And again, you can see our wicks coming up and down. We just need to pop them all up the same sort of level. So you just go wee tug wherever you want them, so they're all the same height. Again, you can see our teeth mechanism from the side, all down and all up. Easy, simple, great. Now, next thing we want to do is to put on this piece. Now, I don't think it matters what way it is, that it's the same diameter the whole way on both sides. So we'll pop this down like so, which fitted fairly well. Make sure you're not dropping any of your wicks. All your wicks are nicely on the inside of it, and it's all nice and seated in this part, in the outer bit of the wick, like so. Then we need our middle piece. Now this sits, when it sits on the inside here where the gap is, your wicks will sit on the outside of this. So we'll pop this in. Give it a wee finagle. There you go. So now we've got our wicks on the inside. I don't know if you can see them coming up or down. There we go. And then the last piece goes on top. Like so. Just have to, there we go. There's it nice and as uniform as I can get it. As I say, it's very cheaply made. There we go. Now, once we've got it lit, on to light it, for those who haven't seen the other videos, what we do is you have your little piece of wick in here, like so. This is wet, obviously, it's been dipped in. You take it out, light it, and then what you've got to do then is to put it down in here and work your way around till all your wicks is lit. What I would do is I'd put it up full. I would, once you put your fuel in, let it sit for 20 minutes or so or whatever for the stuff to soak it all up. And I would put them all up full to start with. But first I would level them all off. Put them all up full and then light them all. Make sure this is out. And I don't mean use your hand to put it out. Give it a blow out and let it sit for a couple of seconds before you put it back in, and make sure it's submerged in the fuel. Put it back in if you're using that, but I won't be using that. I'll be using another lighter on this. So that's nice and tight. I might even super glue that in. I'll see how it goes. So once you've got it lit, let it burn for a few bits to get all the old smoke and paint and stuff off it and oils, and then you can adjust it, your flame setting, but obviously with your little doofiggery here. And it actually says on it, off goes anti-clockwise, and to raise it is clockwise. Now once you've got it all lit, your last piece is this, go on top, and there you go. So just making sure it's nicely spaced. There's what we've got. Now what I wanted to do with this was, once I've got this lit and I've got a nice heat on it, if this actually fits, which it is, it's going to fit, it's going to be nice and tight as well. Got to push it in a wee bit. Aha, look at that. Brilliant. Fits in like a little glove. There you go. And that's what I want. So that can sit. I'll have a nice bit of a fuel on this. Now you can see on the inner side how it's actually fitting. So if you weren't going to use this for cooking, you could, because the metal on both these is very thin. Push that down a little bit more. Because these here stick up a little bit. You could actually, with a pair of pliers, flatten these out, butterfly these out basically, so it'll sit permanent on this. It depends if you want to use this for cooking or if you want it for heating. I just want to use it for trying it for a wee bit of heating. And then all I've got to do then is just take the whole unit, put it on top, and that's it.